Good evening and welcome to another episode of My Fiber Fun. Yes, I'm late. I'm late. I got a late start. I've been sleeping. Wait a minute. I'm on this. I'm going to show you. I'm on the medicine called Antivert, and that's for vertigo. I had it like a month and a half ago, and so I never take a full pill unless I'm having the vertigo and it's real bad. And so I just usually take just a piece of it, but it puts you out. If you've ever had vertigo and was prescribed Antivert, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, you go to sleep. Anyway, I haven't taken it in 3 days because I noticed that now it's like I have narcolepsy. I was telling Anonymous in California today, we got narcolepsy because she's been sleeping a lot too, but she's not on Antivert. But anyway, I it just has me wonky. And so it's like every time I sit down and try to crochet or watch TV, next thing I know, I'm waking up and it's some ungodly hour. When was this? A few days ago. I don't even remember falling asleep. I was watching one of my favorite YouTube channels. It's about a guy who cleans up in Detroit and cuts people grass and stuff and resets their yard. His name is Midlife Stockton. That's the name of his channel. Anyway, I love his channel because it's so charitable. It's beautiful. And he likes to spread love and all that, the hippie stuff. So, you know. But anyway, I put on one of his videos because I haven't seen them all because I subscribed to him about maybe 2 or 3 months ago. So I have like a few years of videos to catch up on. Anyway, I started watching this one video and I was really enthralled in it. Next thing I know, my eyes, that was 10 o'clock at night. Next thing I know, my eyes was popping open. I'm like, where am I? What's going on? I'm on the couch and I'm way back like this. So my neck was hurting and everything else after that. Sleeping like a pretzel. It was 5 in the morning. Then yesterday, this was Thursday night into Friday. And then I was like, oh, I done really messed up because I needed to be at the farmer's market at 8 o'clock yesterday morning. Needless to say, I didn't make it at 8. I got there at about 9. But how I did it, I don't know. But anyway, I made it. Then, that just messed me up yesterday. I must have taken 5 naps. Then today, I was tasting my dinner because I made some, I call it linguine, but it's the Alfredo with the shrimp and the noodles and all that stuff. And onions. I put some cipollinis in there too. Ooh, it was good. So I was tasting it because it had just got done. So I took a few bites just to see if it needed extra salt or pepper or whatever. I took those few little bites. Next thing I know, I'm waking up 3 hours later. So I'm just now getting going. So it looks like I'm going to be up half the night. Okay. Because this medicine, I'm on the 3rd day of not taking it at all. So eventually it's going to wear off and I'm not going to be able to get to sleep. And it feels as if this might be the night that happens. And if it is, oh well. But anyway, so I finished the blanket, you guys. I finished that yesterday, and so it's on my lap right now. So what I did was I actually stopped it at row 30. I stopped it at row 30 because to me it was big enough, because I didn't want it to get too heavy, although it's not that heavy, but I could see where if I had kept going, because I probably could have gotten to 35 rows. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to save the rest of this and I'm going to make a bag. So I had this left over and then I got this right here. I started a bag and then I took it down, decided to go with diamond mesh. So with this, and this is the double strand, I'm making a bag and it's going to be for my walker, because I notice at the farmer's market when I have the walker, or anywhere else I have the walker, I need somewhere to put my cell phone, because I really don't like carrying my other bag on my shoulder while I'm dealing with the walker. It falls down and whatnot, and then you never know, a pickpocket can sneak up behind you. So I said, once I finish this, I'm going to put some kind of clamp on it that, you know, where it can clamp onto the front of my walker, and then I can have my stuff right there. And then I didn't want to have to use the basket. Now I am getting ready to order that caddy. Now once I order that caddy, that will be a front basket But in the meantime, I can still clamp it to the front basket, and that'll make it a little more secure. Then I can just have, you know, my important things like my keys and all that right there at my fingertips and right there in front of me. So it's just for convenience. So I'm doing the diamond mesh, but I'm not chaining the 4 or 5 in between. I'm just chaining 3 in between. So it's going to be more of a closed diamond mesh, and it's going to give me, you know, more yarn to work with, because I want this bag to be kind of large. I want it to be like a large hippie bag. So I have this much yarn plus this here. Oh, it's going to get large. I could actually squeeze 2 smaller ones, but I just want 1 bag. That's it. And so that's what I'm doing. So that's what I'm working on now. But let me show you the blanket while I'm rambling. So the blanket ended up measuring almost 50 inches. It got to like 48 inches. And instead of, because I was going to do the extra wide border, I just went 3 rows. In fact, there's your border right there. I only went 3 rows around because I was scared. In fact, it did start, see how it's curling at the end? If I had gone around more and more, it would have still curled. And I was doing 2 in each corner. So this is perfect. But anyway, this is the width of it. And like I said, and look at it, y'all. I had so many runs of where it was the same color, 2 strand together, and I got it with every color. So this is how it looks. I'm just kind of coming up with it. So just take a good look at it. This is the middle of it where I started, and then the colors running together when they were the same color, it's all around the blanket. So here's one side. We're going to go around 4 times. This is one side. It was more or less the purple that did it the most. And then here's the next side. This side had more of the pinks, as you can see. And then the third side, we had more of the turquoise, or the next side is the turquoise. But you have the blue, the blue. I think you see the blue on this side. I can't see that well. I can barely see through the holes. And then the fourth side, but you can see turquoise, and I mean, everything is just there. And then, you know, and then the heathered look is through it. So it's just a combination. And Jen, I think it was you who said it looks like a quilt, you know, like an antique type quilt. I just love it. I love it. I love it. And one thing about it is, and it covers me all the way. It's nice and warm. It's just beautiful. Just beautiful. So as you can see, I'm throwing it over my shoulder. It goes all the way down. It doesn't cover my feet. It actually goes down to the bottom of my ankle. But I keep my house shoes on anyway. So this is a big enough blanket for me. It's big enough. I love it, y'all. I can't rave about this enough. So to recap, I was afraid to do this. I was afraid to double strand it. But I had seen a video once where it was like this yarn shop, and they were talking about some Noro yarn that they had gotten in stock, and they were talking about playing with the yarn, because they were like, you don't have to get the same color. And at that point, I had already ordered this, and I did. I got the same color. But they were saying, when you see a different Noro yarn come out, like this is the Haru Ito, and so let's say other Haru Itos, I could have gone with other colors. I could have gone with, I could have used like a solid to mix with it, a solid color to mix with this to, you know, bring it out and things. So they were just saying, play with the yarn. They said anything that you do with it, I guess whatever the wabi-sabi technique, whatever Mr. Noro did, he got it to a science to where no matter what you do with the yarn, it's gonna work for you. And so I didn't quite believe it, but then I saw some examples of how people took like a solid color. Some of them blended fibers. It was this one video, and if I can find it, I will post a link to it, where it was this lady and a man, both of them, and they had knitted their Noro blankets. And one went with this one color of the Noro, but then put it with a black of something else, which was a different fiber. He had used Noro, I forget what the fiber was, but then he put it with like a wool. And the way that he ran it, he would run 3 rows of the Noro, 3 rows of this wool, 3, 3, 3, and it was so beautiful. And so he was saying, I didn't know how that was going to come out. I didn't know if I could mix the fibers. I didn't know, and he was like, and it came out stunning. And so they were just talking about how you should play with the yarn. No matter what you do, you can't go wrong. But I still wasn't quite convinced with this. I said if I double it, because they didn't say anything about double stranding. They were just talking about mixing. And so and what made me eventually decide to do it, because they talked about mixing, I was like, okay, I'm double stranding it, but I'm still mixing it with the same yarn. So I'm going to still get the same colors, but I didn't want it to come out looking bad. You get the two, everything matched, but I was thinking, if you get the pink on top of the purple, or you get the blue on top of the turquoise, it might not come out looking good or whatever. Look at this, y'all. Y'all can't tell me. Now, if somebody wants to be a meanie and tell me it's ugly. That's fine. But I like it. I love this thing. Just look at it, y'all. I'm looking at it in the thing. It looks better looking at it in the camera than it does, me just looking at it. I just love this. I just love it, love it, love it. I wish I knew how to do granny squares, because it would have looked nice as me making like different granny squares and then sewing them together. But anyway, and then the thickness of it, and it has the perfect drape and everything. But yeah, this isn't washable. It's hand wash, and then you lay it flat to dry. Now I have a clothesline in the back. I have the old-fashioned type. So when I bought this house, I was happy to see that. So my friend put a new line up for me last year. And so in the summer, I didn't do it this year because, with me being sick all year. But now all last summer and the summer before, when I wash sheets and things like that, I hang it, on the clothesline, because I like the smell of the fresh air, drying stuff, towels, all that stuff. So whenever this needs washing, I'm thinking, because I do have a delicate cycle on my washer and everything, I could probably put it in cold water with the Woolite in the washer on the delicate and then take it out. But I can't see myself hand washing this thing. But anyway, I think I could probably get away with the delicate cycle, on my washer, because I've used it before, and it is short and to the point, and it gets the stuff clean, because it's a newer washer. So, but I just know not to put it in the dryer or anything like that, and pray that if I put it outside, to hang up on the clothesline, that it doesn't rain or whatever. But yeah. But it'll be a while before I need to wash it. But I love this. So this is going to be my travel blanket, like if I'm traveling or whatever. I'm not putting it in the car, because usually I put an Afghan in the car in the winter, because you never know if you get stranded or whatever. They say you should always have a blanket in your car. It won't be this. It'll be one of my old ones. Yep. But anyway, I just love it. Yep. I can't rave about this enough. I cannot rave about it enough. So if you ever want to get Noro, now I'm gonna let y'all in on the secret. Y'all know Noro costs a lot. Usually this runs, last year it was running like 50 cents. I wish, okay? It was running $56 a ball. But what you do is you shop at clearance. So you got sites like Little Knits, and there's, I forgot the name of that other site, because they got the Grandpa's Closet. So you go to your clearance, or when it goes on sale. Lots of times Noro yarn will go on sale, especially if it's something that's discontinued or whatever. Because this I got real cheap. I got it under $20 a ball, which I thought was good. And I was only buying because I was like, okay, I'll spend $80 or $100. And so I bought 7 balls all together, because y'all know I have that one odd one. I bought 7 all together. It takes only 4 balls, and they come with 450 yards. So these are big, giant balls of it. You're getting a lot, okay? Think of Think of not Karen cakes or nothing like that. Nothing like that. Think of your, what's that? The that yarn that comes with a lot of it. The big size in the store. Golly, I can't even remember the name of it. But anyway, it's big. Think of the Red Heart Jumbo or something like that. You know, one of your big giant skeins of acrylic. So this is how the Noro is, and a little goes a long way. A little goes a long way. So, you know, so here you have it. And so this, I didn't even quite use 6 skeins because I had the 7th, you know, that ball that I did not blend with this. And I used probably 5. I would say 5 balls because this here would be, I would say 5.5. Because this here, what's left over, this is probably over 200-300 yards. So that's what I had left from this. So therefore, this is only, you know, although it's 5 balls, but it equaled out to me doing 2.5 balls to get this big giant square. So, yeah, so you don't have to order that much. You could get this blanket made for under $100 if you wanted to do it. And if you wanted to double strand it, now I would feel safe to say, yeah, double stranded. If you like something a little bit thicker, then double stranded, it's going to come out okay. Now I'm a believer. When they said that, they said to play with it. I played with this. Shoot, I ought to take a picture of this and send it to Noro magazine. And because I haven't seen anything where someone double stranded the Noro to make anything. And this blanket right here, I'm quite sure there will be others. You know, if they featured it, I doubt if they would, because me and these knots and stuff, and as many times as I frogged it, you know, they stuff in the magazines look pristine and professional and whatnot. But it's just, I'm glad to have this here, and I hope I'm going to tag put the hashtag for Noro. So if somebody's ever looking up Noro in the search engine of videos, hi, yeah, do it, double it up, you know. So anyway, but this is how it looks. Okay, so I think I've raved about this enough. Okay, so what's next on the agenda? Well, I'm going to do this bag, so it's not going to take long to do this. I'll probably be done with this tomorrow if I don't fall asleep and go into a darn coma the way that I've been doing. But, and of course, y'all know I'm going to be making the February shawl, the red, black, and green. But guess what, y'all? Who am I? What am I the queen of? Let me get my ribbit. Let's put them right on my shoulder. Yep. Whenever you see that, that means I frogged something. What do you think I frogged? Take a guess. Okay, let me put them back. Alrighty. I frogged that the merino wool shawl. I decided I want to make it like this. You know, chain my regular 220 and do a diamond mesh with this. And I think that's how I had it before I switched it up, and I did it in the diamond mesh triangular, but it didn't go all the way to the bottom because I wanted it to be extra long. Well, I pulled it out the closet today and put it on my shoulder, and I looked and I was like, no, I like this better. So I frogged it. So this is what I'm getting ready to start on after I finish that. And then I will, because winter's coming, and I'm going to be, you know, putting this around my shoulder because it's for the colder months anyway. So I'm going to whip this off. It only take me a couple of days to do it. And then I'll start on the one for February. I still have plenty of time for that. We're only in the month of September. Okay, so that's it, you guys. So I'm not going to stay on here long. I'm not going to keep y'all long because it's late. It's after 9 o'clock. And so I need to go wash the dishes, get my food put away, and then I can sit down and crochet and watch my midlife Stockman videos. And I'll look to see if you guys have uploaded anything. Chris, I think I saw that you uploaded a video, so you're first on the list, buddy. Alrighty, so I'm going to get off of here, you guys. And today would have been my father's 94th birthday on today. So I'm remembering him. And, you know, next, we're coming up on Mr. Andrews' death date on the 26th. So he's next. So tomorrow I'll be going to the cemetery to visit the graves. And, you know, because he and my mother and then my brother-in-law and my brother. Ooh, y'all. And let me tell y'all, I cried last night, y'all. My brother, I told y'all that he was a funeral director, right? And so I remember, well, back in 2005, when Rosa Parks passed away. You know, she lived in Detroit. Y'all know who Rosa Parks was. Anyway, my brother worked for the funeral home that handled her services. And so he worked her funeral. And so, and I'll show y'all one day my obituary, because that was the one thing I told my brother. I was like, I don't care what else you do while you there. I was like, please get me an obituary, an original one. Because they had all these fake ones that went out after a funeral. He got me an official one that has the official mark on it. And so I framed it immediately, and it's in my historical tub that I keep here. So I have her actual obituary from the funeral. But anyway, my brother worked the funeral. And so, you know, it was televised and everything, you know, live and everything, especially in this area, Detroit. I think it was televised nationwide, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, she passed away in 2005, I believe. It was either 2005 or 6. Let's see. It was I can't remember if it was 2005 or 6. I can't remember, but I know it was, you know, in that time. So I remember I watched it on TV, you know, as it occurred and everything. I'm sitting there watching it, and I could see my brother, because I was telling y'all about that local movie that he was in, and every time that the camera, he saw the camera, he made sure he was going to get into frame and all that, peeking around corners and all this other crazy stuff. And so he was the same way at that funeral. It was like every time he could be on camera. So at her funeral, there were so many dignitaries at the funeral. You know, I didn't even know Obama was there. So he was there. Let's see, anybody who was anybody was there. Your celebrities. You had President Clinton, and I think George Bush was president at the time that she passed. I believe he was there, and the First Lady. Let's see, who else? Everybody. It's like everybody was there. So I saw it, you know, and then my brother, I remember my brother, the camera was on him as he shook President Clinton's hand. And I told my brother, I saw you getting on TV so you could shake the president's hand. Roger was like, I saw so many people you would not believe. He was like, I felt so special. I was like, I know you did. And so last night I was watching YouTube, and somehow or another, Rosa Parks, the video of her funeral popped up, and me. I was like, oh, I didn't know that her funeral was on YouTube. Click! Why did I do that? So yes, her funeral is on YouTube, and yes, I saw my brother. And it's like, I didn't think it would bother me, because, you know, I see films of my mother all the time, my father. You know, we have all kind of footage of them and stuff. It never bothered me at all. But for some reason, that was my first time seeing my brother on footage from when he was alive. It's like the moment I saw him on that thing, I was like, let me cut this off. I didn't even finish watching it. It was enough. And it was the part where they were getting ready to close her casket. He was standing, he was like towards the end, because they had the official people who were actually doing the closing, but all the funeral directors that worked for Swanson's were there. So my brother was in that line. He was like maybe 3 or 4 back. And he had on glasses, so you would know it's my brother, because everyone say we looked alike. We didn't, but you would know. You'd be like, oh, that looked like that could be Q's brother. But anyway, for real, because in those glasses, for real. But anyway, yeah, and then they had on like the tuxedo tails and stuff. And so, yep, so he was standing there, and the officials were doing, it's like I had never seen nothing like that. I guess because it was Rosa Parks, because they, like the funeral key. I remember when my father died, shoot, they closed, you know, they wound the casket and locked it and everything. And here they come to my mother, and they gives her the key and the American flag, because my father was a Marine. Well, at Rosa Parks' funeral. So one guy, he turns around like he's a soldier. Bloop. Then he hands the key. Have y'all ever seen how lawyers, you know, in the courtroom, high-powered lawyers, they set their briefcase down, boom, and then they open it, boom. They do it like that. So that's how this guy was with the key to the casket. He hands it to the guy, and the other guy takes it, and then he's turning it like this. You know, he's not doing it the regular way where they just cranking it. And then all of a sudden, when he was done, he pulls it out, boom. Then he turns around, boom, hands it to the guy, boom. I'm like, why are they being so official? So I did watch that part, and then all of a sudden they were getting ready to leave. So then they all turned around in a straight line like soldiers, and then they started walking off. And that's when I really lost it, because my brother was really right there, you know, because they were all walking off after all that done. And then the service started after that, and it was a 7-hour funeral. So I wasn't gonna watch all of it, no way. But the point is, my brother it took an hour from the preliminaries and all the dignitaries marching in, because all the dignitaries came in first. Then they brought in her family and things like that. That took a whole hour. So it was like, when my brother came into frame, he was like an hour. Well, he was in during the preliminaries too, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't that much. But when it was really focused on him and the other funeral directors were when they closed her casket. And in official terms, they call it the sealing of the bier. Okay. But anyway, that's the part where if you look at every person there, one of them is my brother. So it just did me in. So I was like, should I tell my sister? I was like, nope, I'm not going to tell her, because I know, because we both have a hard time, you know, with losing our brother, because he was our only brother. So the point is, and me and her, we have mutually agreed, losing our brother was actually worse than losing our parents, because that's something you expect. So you kind of, you know, especially as you get older, you know, because I was 38 when my father passed, and then my mother died 3 days before my 56th birthday. So as you get older, you imagine, okay, the day will come where I would lose my parents. So it's not that you prepare for it, but you know it's coming. We never, ever, ever would have thought. We thought maybe as we got older and aged, you know, we'd lose a sibling, but not I lost my brother. He had just turned 54. I had just turned 51. Never in our wildest dream. We thought with him being a funeral director, shoot, we had already left instructions with him on how to bury us. We just never thought he would die, and that was it. So his death is harder on us than my parents. And I have found, you know, throughout the years here, sometimes it just creeps up on you, and I find myself crying over his death. I remember one of my brother's friends, because my sister, she was looking, she just got a tombstone. It just got laid a few weeks ago, but it's been like a year when she started her research on finding a headstone for her husband and everything. So it was this one director, she had asked me to call, and then she had made a call to another, not director, but tombstone person. So we were making calls. I was helping her along. You know, we were both doing this because she wanted to get one for my mother. Actually, my mother had hers. It was prepaid. My brother had gotten all theirs, his wife, my mother, and it was after my father died. So he got my mother, so they all share the headstone. It's like what you call it? Not a mausoleum, but it's one of those big giant headstones that would hold 4 people. So anyway, so my mother is next to my father, but we hadn't gotten the chiseling done, and we had to be very careful with it because we wanted the font to be exact to my father's and brothers, and everybody couldn't do it. And so we were calling around, and then so my sister asked me if I would help her because we needed to get this business with my mother, and then she needed to get the business with her husband, you know, so I was helping her out. So I was calling, getting the pricing for the chiseling and to find out about the font, you know, if they could match that font. My brother and so the one guy I was talking to, he's not too far from me. He knew my brother, you know, being in the funeral business. He was like, oh, I knew Roger, blah, 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 blah. So we got to talking about him because he was like, well, how's his children? I know his son was in college at the time of his death. And, you know, so I'm kind of catching him up, letting him know that my brother had a grandchild, you know, now and things like that. Because my little nephew, he'll be 3 in February, my great nephew. Anyway, so I'm filling him in and everything. And we were talking and, you know, just going on and on. All of a sudden, I'm crying. I was like, because I forget. Oh, we were talking and I was telling him, you know, about that being my only brother and, you know, about I think it was about the grandson. I was like, yeah, we love on the little boy. And, you know, I was like, my sister and I often feel guilty. I was like, because here we are, you know, getting a bond with his grandson. And every time we see him, we think of our brother because that's his grandson and he never got to meet him or see him. And so when I was telling the guy about it, and why am I rambling? I'm just going on and on. I was supposed to be gone, 15 minutes ago? But y'all know me. Anyway, while I'm telling him about it, I was like, yeah, so we see his, you know, his grandson and we think about him and think about how he didn't get a chance to meet him and this and that. And then here we are, the ones who, you know, playing his part, you know, because although, you know, he has his grandmother is alive, my brother's ex-wife. And, but, you know, we're the great aunts and the only 2 on his grandfather's side. So basically, so we do things for him like what my brother would do, you know, my brother, if my brother were alive, it is things that we probably wouldn't do. You know, he'd get his Christmas and birthday and that would be it. But we take up extra. My sister babysits all the time and things like that. I can't do it because I cannot chase a 2-year-old. So I don't babysit. But, you know, the thing is, we at any given time, I might buy something for him or whatever. And my brother would have done that. So here we are kind of doing what he would have been doing if he were still alive and whatnot. So it's just sad. And I found myself crying and I told the guy, I'm so sorry. I was like, it just hurts. It still stings, you know. Now, right now, I'm fine. I can talk about them all day and whatnot. It's just some things. But yesterday was a trigger. Or was it last? Yeah, it was yesterday when I was watching that. It was a trigger, and I did not expect it. I hadn't, because like I said, I've watched footage of my mother and father, aunts and uncles, my grandparents, all kind of different ones, cousins who are no longer here and whatnot. Don't bother me one bit, but for some reason, saw that of my brother, probably because of the significance of the funeral he was working, and he said that was the most important and proudest moment of his life to be able to work Rosa Parks' funeral. And so I think that's why it hit me that way, because I'm sitting up there looking at my brother during the most important moment of his life, his most happiest moment. And you know what I'm saying, it was an important moment for him, and he talked about it all the time and whatnot. And so to see him in that moment, I saw him in a different light than what I saw when he actually worked it. I was telling him, you showing off, trying to be in the camera and all that, but it was more to it. And so to see that, and I'm like, wow, he's gone, but yet and still, this is one of the most, you know, big moments of his life. That's like if me in the eclipse, okay? If somebody saw me after I'm gone and hear me view that eclipse, because I did record it or whatever, they'd be like, they would probably cry, because they'd be like, dang, this is just one of the most spectacular moments of our life. And here she is, you know, in real time. Let me stop. Okay, y'all, let me get off of here. I'm getting ready to get busy and get to watching these videos and stuff. So look for me later this week, once I finish this bag, and I'll probably finish both of these. I'll probably be done with everything by Wednesday, so I will come back on then, and I will talk to you then, unless something happens before then. All right, talk to you later. You all have a wonderful, wonderful week, and have a wonderful evening. Talk to you later, and may God bless you all. See you in the next one. Bye.